So, as most people know, the Republican Party is having a convention next month in the state of Texas. And let's face it, this is extremely unusual for a multitude of reasons. But the biggest reason being, we have basically never had this type of convention for any non presidential year. Of course, every presidential election, the RNC and the DNC, they have their conventions. But outside of that, most of the time, we never see conventions, especially to the scale that Republicans are planning on having in Texas. And there was a lot of speculation about what will the GOP focus on during this event. And it seems like we finally got that answer. Look at this headline right here. GOP plans socialism telethon at midterm convention. Yeah, it looks like the Republican Party, their entire focus on this convention is going all in on the idea that the Democrat Party, they're so crazy, they're so out of touch, they're delusional. Nobody can actually vote and support these people. And I know when we talk about the Republican Party and them attacking socialism and communism, most of the time we kind of just rolled our eyes at it. Because let's face it, back in like 2020, the Republican Party would attack anything as communist. You want better health care? That's communist. You want better social security? That's communism. And that was always the issue, not the idea of attacking extreme nutcases. No, the problem was the GOP for years said everything's communist. Well, if everything's socialist or communist, that means nothing is. However, it does seem like even though this is the Republican Party, they have finally learned and realized, wait a second here, this isn't working. Republicans plan to use their first ever midterm convention in Dallas next month to mount a sweeping, made for primetime case that Democrats have become captive to their activist left. With President Trump's approval in the 30s and his war in Iran weighing on the economy, Republicans don't want the November 3rd midterms to be just a referendum on his presidency. And I would agree with this philosophy. Now, again, with the Iran stuff, if gas prices go down to below like $3 by election day, nobody's going to give a shit. Everybody's going to say gas prices are low, everything's booming. That's the reality of it. But I do agree that, yeah, right now, Trump's approval, I don't think it's in the 30s, but yeah, making it a sole referendum on Trump may not be the best idea, at least right now. Could that theoretically change? I guess. But if we're being honest here, yeah, it's going to be a referendum on President Trump. They're essentially planning a but their worst campaign targeting the Senate Democrat left and socialism. Republicans will make progressive politicians and activists recurring characters throughout the September 9 convention at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. So yeah, that's going to be their main message at the convention. They're going to talk about other stuff as well, like immigration, law and order, but it does seem like the number one focus is focusing on how batshit crazy the Democrat Party has gotten. And honestly, I think it's a good idea. Now, of course, you got to focus on issues as well, like immigration, law and order, even the economy. But I really believe this attack line they're going to focus on will be very effective. GOP operatives spent months compiling footage of Democrat figures, including left-wing commentator Hassan Piker and Texas U.S. Senate candidate James Tellerico, that they're going to use throughout the convention to paint Democrats as outside the mainstream. And I think this right here is going to be a lot more damaging than people think. Because yes, in the past, Republicans tried to attack Democrats for being extreme, but most of the time, it was just kind of out of context statements and people kind of saw through it, and or it was like in writing or whatever. But here, we have these nutcases on video saying some of the most batshit crazy things we have ever seen. Seriously, what the fuck are Democrats doing? Like, James Tellerico, every other day, there's a new clip of him saying something dumb about God and transgenderism in fucking Texas. Seriously? And it looks like all the Republican Party is going to do is play these clips over and over and over again, and hopefully give a real alternative. Just all the Republicans have to do is just show what they're saying. I just cannot believe that the Democrat Party, and especially these major candidates, they are actively embracing some of the most batshit crazy people on the left. Like, seriously? That's your strategy. And a lot of average voters, I guarantee you, they've never seen half the shit we've all seen on like Twitter. Because a lot of people, they're not online. They are not checked into politics right now. Can you imagine for a second when the average voter sees what these people are saying about God and transgenderism and, oh, we gotta get rid of Thanksgiving because it's awful? I mean, seriously, where the fuck do Democrats get these people from? And the Republicans, they're just saying, yeah, we have infinite amount of videos of these people saying the craziest shit possible. And it sounds like it's going to be basically all the major people like Telrico, like El Said. Monte Point shaped the GOP convention. Organizers say everyday Americans will tout Republican achievements on cutting taxes, lowering prescription drug costs, and improving border security. A tactic organizers say worked at the 24 convention. Perfect. I was hoping for this, and it sounds like they're going to do it. For those that don't get it, back in 24, the Republican Party had all these random people, these average Americans, talk to the whole world about how they got fucked over by Biden. Whether it was the economy, whether it was the disaster at the southern border, whether it was the disaster in Afghanistan, whatever it was, they got these people up and talked about it. And that was very effective. Some of those speeches were amazing because it's like, for a lot of people, they knew it was bad, but to see these random people talk about how they got fucked over by Biden, it won a lot of people over. I really believe that did greatly benefit Trump in 24. And it sounds like they're doing the same thing again. Now, I don't think it's going to be quite as effective because obviously the economy is not the best. And yeah, lowering drug costs is good. Improving border security, that stuff is good. But I don't think it's going to be quite as effective because right now, the average person is not really feeling it right now. Are things getting better? Yeah. Either way, this should be an effective strategy. Organizers believe that this will reinforce their argument that Republicans are focused on kitchen table issues, while Democrats have been overtaken by left-wingers whose policies will hurt Americans. Good. I like this thinking. Okay, you may not think everything's perfect right now. Okay, here's the opposition. Here's your alternative. So you can either pick the side trying to make things better. Things are getting better. If it might be a little bit slower than we want it to be, but things are technically speaking getting better, especially with the southern border, with the economy showing signs of life. It's still far from perfect, but compared to these nutcases who are saying some of those batshit crazy things, possible. So overall, I do like where this convention is going. I do like what they're focused on. They're going to focus on the economy and affordability, which I would argue that's so far been Trump's biggest issue. Like it says right here, a lot of Republicans, they're kind of upset with them. He's not focused on the economy enough. Now, you can blame this on Congress for not passing anything. I get that. But still, Trump has kind of just ignored the economy a bit too much, I think. And I do think it is hurting the GOP. I think that's going to help the Republicans if they focus on affordability, the economy, and demonstrate to people that, yeah, we're trying to fix everything. Meanwhile, here's the opposition. Here is who you would have to vote for. If you don't like us, yeah, you can pick these people. Go ahead. It's not going to win every single person over. I get that. But if Republicans do this right, which I think, based on what I'm hearing, how they're going to do it, I think this will be much more effective than people think it's going to be. I think it does give them a bit of a boost. I think a lot of people, they're going to see firsthand how utterly crazy these people are getting. Will be enough to win the midterms? That's a different story. But I think overall, this is a good convention. This is a very good idea, and hopefully, this is what happens. And apparently, they're not stopping at that. They're actually going to talk about stuff like a no tax on tips, focused on cleaning up these urban shitholes like Memphis, like DC. And also, they're going to focus on Maha and Vice President Vance's anti fraud task force, which I still believe these two things, nobody's talking about these massive achievements with Maha and the anti fraud stuff. We're finding hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of fraud from Medicaid to Medicare in like California, in Chicago, in New York. It is insane how much bullshit they're finding. RFK with Maha, he's done a lot of good stuff and nobody's talking about it. This, I really believe, is a messaging problem. And it seems like Republicans realize this. And for this convention, they're going to focus on everything that so far I do believe Republicans have dropped the ball on. I think that's smart. I think it is a good idea for the GOP to do this. So we're going to see next month how will this actually play out. And hopefully, after the convention or right before it, they really begin their ad blitz. Because after Labor Day, most of the time, that's when Republicans tend to start spending their money. And everyone knows this year in particular, they have the biggest advantage possibly ever for either party. They have so much money they can spend. Democrats, they're in a lot of shit right now financially. Yes, some candidates like Telrico and John Ossoff, they can raise a lot of money. Outside of that, they're getting killed in fundraising. And now Elon Musk is back in the fold. We're talking about the biggest cash advantage ever. And that should give the GOP another advantage. I'm hoping this is the start of Republicans finally trying to build some momentum for November, because so far it's been all Democrats. Democrats are the ones spending all their time and money right now. They're burning through so much money just to fundraise more money. It's insane. They're having all these brutal primaries. And that's why I believe they have a bit of momentum and they have a bit of a lead in the generic ballot. If Republicans respond and they do it effectively, it could give them a much needed surge in the polling. But we shall see. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.